Today we will move on to midpoint of 2 points. Again, this stuff seems trivial, I'm sure, to some of you, but to others it isn't. But just a little bit of a thinker off the start, if you had two numbers and you wanted to find the average or the midpoint, remember how you would do that. So the midpoint of 2 points on a coordinate plane. Okay, so again, think about it. If you wanted to find the average of two numbers, what would you do to them? Because it's no different than the midpoint of 2 points assignment. Okay, so let's plot out 2 points here, x and y, and we'll go over to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It doesn't matter here. And we went up to point A at 1, 3. A is at 1, 3. And we went over to B at 5, 3. Now I'm just using horizontal lines again. But let's say B, 5, 3. Okay? I'm sure some of you already could tell me the midpoint. We'll call the midpoint C. Okay? It's whatever. It's actually denoted with a capital P, like that. A, B, like so. And you could tell me the ordered pair x, y right now. Well, if we look halfway in between, right there, and 1, 2 right there. Oh, okay, so there's the midpoint C, we'll call it. Okay, even though that's not really what it's called. But point C, well, what's the coordinates of that? Well, it's 3, 3. There's your midpoint of that one, because, like I said, how do you find the midpoint of two numbers, or the average of two numbers? Well, I hope some of you, or 1 or 2 of you, said you add the two numbers and divide by 2. And that's exactly what we could have did with our x1 and our x2 here. We could add those. We get 1 plus 5 is 6, divided by 2 is 3. And with our y1 and our y2, same thing. To get the average of two numbers that are the same. 3 plus 3 is 6, divided by 2 is 3 again. Okay, so pretty simple. So anytime I ask you to find the midpoint of two numbers, because this might be, I might give you 2 points of the endpoints of a diameter of a circle and ask you what's the center of the circle. Well, how do you do that? If it's a diameter of a circle, the center is the midpoint of the endpoints of the diameter, right? So that's kind of where the application of this goes. So if I said find the midpoint of K, we'll use here -3, 4, and L, let's go with 6, 8. Okay, first off, you don't ever have to plot these. Okay, I'm not asking you to plot these. I will ask you to plot them later on, but for now I just want you to calculate them. But we'll plot it just so you can see approximately where it's going to be. Well, K is over at -3, 1, 2, 3, and L is, and up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's K right there. And L is over at 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and up at 8, 6, 7, 8. There's L at 6, 8. So if you were to look at this line, that I could draw a dotted line in there. Okay, and we were to try and guess whereabouts or what ordered pair might be the midpoint. Somewhere in there. Maybe we'll just open up our perfectly beautiful graph, as I always graph. Somewhere in there. Okay, I'm guessing. But remember, the midpoint of 2 points, whatever they are the average of those 2 points. So the first thing you always do with this stuff is always, again, I hope you're saying this, always label points x1, y1, x2, y2. Okay, you should always label them like so. So we'll do that. x1, y1, x2, y2. And remember, let's back up here. The midpoint, or the average of two numbers. So I'm going to find the average of the x's. So I'm going to add my x's and divide by 2. Same thing for my y's. I'm going to find them by going y1 plus y2 and divide by 2. This is sometimes denoted, grade 9s, I'll write it over here. The midpoint of P is shown like this. Okay, the average of x, that's how it looks. X with a line over it, and y, just like so. So this is sometimes how it's shown. So the midpoint of 2 points is the average of x and the average of y. That's it. So this is actually an ordered pair up here. So the midpoint of KL equals, again, if you've labeled your points, x1, y1, x2, y2, you just substitute in. So -3 plus 6 divide by 2, comma, y1 is 4 plus y2 is 8 divided by 2. Okay, so midpoint of K to L equals -3 plus 6 is 3 divided by 2, comma. The midpoint of the y is now 4 plus 8 is 12 divided by 2. Okay, so now if you wanted to put the 3/2 as a decimal, you could. Okay, as long as the fraction is reduced, I'm okay. So if you left it at 3/2, that'd be fine. But for those of us who don't like fractions, 1.5. Okay, and I prefer fractions, just so you know. And then 12 divided by 2 is 6. You have to be in reduced form. Okay? Oh boy, here we go. Pen's acting up. So I'm going to try and go back all over this. P of K to L. You got -3 plus 6 divided by 2, comma, 4 plus 8 divided by 2. And then that equals -3 plus 6 was 3 divided by 2, comma, 4 plus 8 was 12 divided by 2. Okay? Sorry about that. Now, look back at our picture. Were we pretty close with our circle that we drew here? Let's see. If we went over to 1.5 on the x, right there, and we drew up all the way up to 6, there's our point. Is that in our circle? Well, sure it is. We're pretty darn close with our estimate on our picture. Okay? I'm going to do another one for you. What the heck? Why not? That one there, the pen screwed up a bit, so maybe you'll get to see it a bit better through this one. Okay. So an example. And again, the points don't really matter. If I said, let's see, W is -3, -5, and Z, let's use -8, -2. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Again, I'm not going to plot these because we don't need to. But the one thing we do have to do is label them. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Always, always, always. And the midpoint of any 2 points is the average of the points. So x1 plus x2 divided by 2. Y1 plus y2 divided by 2. So the midpoint. Here we go. -3 plus x2 plus a minus is a -8, all divided by 2. Okay, so watch that again. It's adding a negative. So -3 plus a -8. That plus a minus becomes a negative. That's why I just put the -3 minus 8 plus 2. And then we've got y1 is -5, and lo and behold, I got a plus a -2 is a -2, all over 2 again. All right. Carry on. Negative 3 minus 8 is negative 11 because they're the same signs. I'm going to add the numbers. Divided by 2. Comma. Negative 5 minus 2 is negative 7 over 2. Same signs. Add them and keep the sign. So the midpoint between W and Z is, to plot them, I need to know that that's negative 5.5 and negative 7 over 2 is negative 3.5. That's A-OK in my world. And yes, sometimes you get 0 and other things like that. 0 divided by 5 or whatever. Make sure you simplify that to be 0. Okay?